As my
In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you made space to be here with us today. Now, before we jump into today's episode, do me a quick favor. If you are feeling our vibes, go ahead and show some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, but most importantly, I need you to share this out with someone who may need a little healing energy today. And if this is your first time here or you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly, for you. And remember, if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop some green hearts in the chat. It is our community's way of saying we are healing, we are growing, and we are showing up for me. Now, let me jump right into today's episode. Hey, Tony, welcome in. I see you, Sister Deborah girl. LK Valentine, welcome into the live stream. We got Mars in the building. Who else is in here? Lady Blue, Brooks, Butterfly. The gang's all here now, right, y'all? Listen, it's Monday, y'all. So I feel like I got my Monday voice. By like Thursday or Friday, I'll be all in it. But I got that Monday voice today, y'all. So just bear with me. It's going to be a little bit raspy, but y'all always know it's a message somewhere in the mess, okay? So today's message, or today's episode, I should say, is for the ones who say they want love, want purpose, want peace. But if we're being real, they can't fully articulate those blessings, or, you know, they can't even really see what it looks like in their own life. Now, listen, y'all know we always got a unofficial sponsor, right? So this message came to me yesterday. I was watching, what is it? Find Love or Pop the Balloon? Is that what it's called, y'all? Pop the Balloon or Find Love? Something like that. One of the two. Anyways. So I'm watching this show. And the whole basis of the show, for those who don't know, is they have, you know, let's say they have 10 men who are looking for love. And so they'll bring out one lady. That's my show, Mars. Okay. Listen, so they'll bring out one woman and she'll ask them questions. They'll ask her questions. So the men have the option to pop the balloon if they're not interested for whatever reason. And then the woman gets to go through and also pop balloons. And so it's like a dating show. But it is truly I don't know. It's a hot mess, y'all. But I love watching this show because it's just entertaining, right? It's a very interesting thing. But as I was watching the show, I'm like, okay, it's crazy to me how these people sign up to be on this dating show, but then they find every excuse not to date somebody. Like, I'm talking about, y'all, down to them saying, I don't like her kneecaps. Like, or, I just didn't like his outfit. And so it's crazy to me that you sign up to be on a dating show and you claim to be looking for love. Thank you so much, Tony. You claim to be looking for love, right? But then, you you almost block your own blessing. Like, I know one of the episodes I was watching last night, the two people that it was down to, they seemed like they had chemistry. They seem like they would be a cute couple. But at a point, she said she was a veterinarian. Okay. Which means she deals with a lot of different animals. And at no point does this man say, I'm allergic to cats. So they get to the point and they're the last two up there or whatever. And she's like, yes, because they're like, is this a match? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, no, it's the cats. I'm allergic to cats. Well, you should have popped your balloon in the very beginning when she said that she was a vet, So I was just sitting there thinking, and I was like, these people are just finding whatever excuse, or like they're out here seeking perfection, right? And so, again, I don't know why I keep watching the show, y'all. I'm hooked, okay? It totally has my attention. But the blessing that I got from that mess yesterday was the fact that a lot of us keep declaring we're ready for something, but on the inside, we still battle doubt and fear and unlearned patterns and, the residual of relationships that taught us to shrink. I know, right? Arlette is the bomb. And she be trying to hold her laughter in, Mars. I can truly empathize with her, because I don't know if I would be able to keep a straight face with some of them people. But anywho, y'all, we're going to talk about the quiet disconnect, the space between what our mouth says that we desire and what our life actually reflects. Because I think that so many of us have been conditioned to want the idea of something without ever learning the definition of it. We want love, but nobody taught us what safety feels like. We want purpose, but nobody told us that purpose comes with pruning. We want peace, but we still confuse chaos with chemistry. And that gap right there, I think that's where we start to lose ourselves, right? That's where we start to settle. That's where we begin to accept crumbs while we're praying for a whole feast. See, wanting something doesn't make you ready for it. Coach Shishi, welcome in. Desire alone doesn't prepare you for it. Thank you, Tony. Declarations don't shape you, right? Intentions don't equip you. There is a whole process between I want it and I'm prepared to receive it. Thank you so much. And it's a process that requires honesty and alignment, maturity, and the courage to walk away from anything that contradicts the blessings that you say that you're waiting on. Because God is not in the business of blessing who you pretend to be, right? He blesses who we're becoming. I think that sometimes we're begging for blessings while still nurturing wounds that would completely sabotage what we're asking for. Asking for a healthy partner with you have a heart that still hasn't learned what healthy feels like. Praying for peace while you are constantly entertaining people that thrive in dysfunction. Wanting purpose, but refusing the stillness needed to hear God's instructions. And here's a truth that I think that nobody wants to say out loud. It is one thing to desire something, and it's another thing entirely to be shaped for something. Cece, welcome in. Right? To be pruned for it, to be disciplined enough to maintain it, to be healed enough to even recognize it. Again, as we're talking about that show, Find Love or Pop That Balloon, many of those people I don't even believe are healed enough to recognize love if it was standing right in front of them. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about it. I want to go beneath the surface. We're going to unpack the unspoken. We're going to make room for the clarity, the kind of clarity that stretches you and challenges you and shifts you into alignment with the blessings that you've been praying for. Welcome in, Kale. And so, again, you don't just want love, right? Those of you who are seeking love, we don't just want love. We want love that lasts. You don't just want peace. You want peace that doesn't crumble under pressure. You don't just want purpose. You want purpose that sustains you, shapes you, and honors who you're becoming. And in order to receive that, it requires preparation, not performance, not perfection, but preparation. So let's start to explore that today. I want to talk about how we want things that we can't define. Right? Let's just start with that, right? A lot of us want blessings that we've never taken the time to understand. We say we want love, but when someone asks, what does healthy love look like for you? We get quiet. We say we want partnership, but we can't describe how we need to be supported emotionally and spiritually or mentally. We say we want stability, but we can't name what routines and boundaries and habits are required to sustain it. Welcome in, Tev. It's like we're longing for someone to show up, but we've never even sat down and defined who it is we're waiting for. And the gag is, many of us have inherited our desires, right? We didn't design them. We inherited relationship expectations from our parents, definitions of success from society, ideas of love from our trauma, standards from survival mode. So we end up chasing things that don't even belong to the person that we're becoming. We pray for the deepest parts of life while living in ways that only honor the surface, the exterior, right? And so when the blessing doesn't show up the way our fantasy perceived it or the way we thought it would, we think that God isn't listening to us, when really we're just unclear. Because you can't discern a blessing that you haven't defined. You can't receive alignment when your desires are unclear. You can't recognize what's actually yours if you don't know how it should feel in your body and in your spirit and in your everyday life. And here's where it gets real. If you can't define what you're asking God for, what happens is you'll settle for whatever looks close. You'll call attention affection. You'll call consistency clinginess. You'll call chaos chemistry, right? That bare minimum that they give, you say that they got potential. And listen, this happens not because you're broken, but because you haven't yet built the language of your own needs. And so this is like a mirror moment for us, right? Where we get to pause and ask ourselves, am I actually clear about what it is that I'm seeking? Or am I just tired of what I've survived so far? Because exhaustion is not clarity. Loneliness is not clarity. Comparison and desperation, they're not clarity. Clarity comes from healing, from intention, from sitting with yourself long enough to understand the shape and the sound and the spirit that you truly desire. And that's the foundation of everything that we're going to explore today. See, we have to start to unlearn these pretty illusions, right? Thinking back to the dating show, people are so focused on the exterior, right? They want the girl that looks pretty with the banging body, right? Not realizing that maybe her spirit or her soul is just trash. It looks good on the outside, but maybe on the inside, she a gold digger. It's rotten to the core, right? Or maybe you have someone who may not be as aesthetically pleasing to the eye, but she has a beautiful soul, right? She's willing to build. She got a great head on her shoulders. So again, we need to start unlearning the pretty illusion. That shiny, perfectly packaged picture of life that we have been trained to chase, right? Society does a very good job at sneaking in and telling us what we should be looking for, how we're supposed to dress, how we're supposed to look, all the things that check off all the boxes. And so again, we live in a society that teaches us to value appearance over alignment. We're conditioned to want what looks good, not what feels good. To want the relationship that photographs well, right? Not the one that feels good. Not the one that communicates well. We're conditioned to want lifestyles that impress strangers, not the ones that nourish our soul. We've been taught to measure blessings by visibility, not viability. So what happens, right? We end up, with Instagram relationships that are built on silence and secrets. Power couple aesthetics with no emotional safety. Jobs that look successful but drain our mental health. Thank you for sharing, guys. Friendships that are rooted in performance instead of truth. Lives that are curated for applause instead of authenticity. And because we've been groomed to chase what looks like love instead of what love is, we get caught in cycles of performing for the world while we're starving internally. Josh Jen, welcome in. And so I think at this point now, we just need to call it what it is, right? Surface level desires attract surface level relationships. Surface level standards produce surface level blessing. Surface level thinking limits soul level expansion. We all want deep partnerships, but many of us only offer shallow vulnerability. It's like we want spiritual alignment, but we don't even give God our attention. We want peace, but we keep entertaining people who thrive off of chaos and confusion. And I think that the part that stings the most is that many of us confuse aesthetics with answered prayers. Just because it glitters doesn't mean it's God. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's purpose. Just because it's smiling, it doesn't mean it's safe. I'm hoping that our conversation today is your wake-up call to stop mistaking presentation for promise. Because blessings don't always come dressed in beauty. Sometimes they come in truth and discipline and pruning and growth. And so when I think about unlearning the illusion, to me, it just simply means choosing substance over spectacle, valuing peace over performance. It means redefining success in a way that honors your soul, not your followers. It's stepping away from the life you were taught to want, so that way you can finally receive the life that your spirit has been asking for. And so again, we have to really truly understand that there is a difference between wanting and being ready to receive. Wanting is easy, right? Think about it. Wanting is something that is so simple. I see it, I want it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know how much it is to take care of it, what I got to do. Wanting is easy, right? I want to win the lottery. I want to be a millionaire, but I have no idea all that comes with carrying all that money. I don't know what taxes I got to pay. I don't know, what that looks like for me. So again, wanting is easy, but being ready, that's a whole different level of growth. Wanting comes from the heart, but readiness comes from the habits. Wanting is emotional. Readiness is more spiritual. Wanting sounds good, but readiness requires good. So if you think about it, we say we want healthy love, but are we healed enough to receive the gentleness without suspicion? We say we want consistency, but can we actually show up with the same steadiness we're demanding from others? We say we want a partner, but are we willing to release the parts of us that only know how to survive, not coexist? Readiness asks for maturity. It asks for reflection and responsibility and release. If you're not ready, the blessing won't feel like a blessing. It'll feel like pressure. A healthy partner will feel like, too much if you're still attached to unhealthy patterns. A peaceful life will feel boring if chaos is your comfort zone. Even your purpose will feel overwhelming if procrastination is your habit. Elevation can feel scary if you're surrounded by people who expect you to stay small. Being ready means that you've done the inner work, right? All the inner work to sustain the things that you're praying for. Not just to enjoy it, but to nurture it and honor it and protect it. See, wanting says, I hope I get it. But readiness says, I'm ready for it. I'm prepared for this. Wanting attracts possibilities, but readiness attracts alignment. And listen, readiness is not about perfection, right? It's not about having it all together. It's not about being without flaws. Readiness is simply this. I've stopped sabotaging what I say that I want. It's you learning your triggers. It's you practicing better boundaries. It's you being honest about your patterns. It's you healing the parts of you that used to mistake pain for passion. Readiness is discipline with your desires, integrity with your intentions. And it's the alignment between your prayer and your pattern, right? It's that middle ground. And I don't know. I think that if a blessing arrives before you're ready, you won't recognize it or respect it. I think that's why there are so many people out here looking for love, like we say, looking for love in all the wrong places. Because their heart isn't ready. Their spirit isn't ready. It's not because you don't deserve love. It just means that you haven't done the work yet. You haven't healed yourself yet. And so when love calls, you don't even recognize it. I don't know. Another thing that I think about is scarcity. These days I hear a lot of people talking from a lacking sort of mentality, right? And so these days, it seems like, scarcity is loud. It's persistent and anxious, right? And it's that voice that keeps us from receiving what God has prepared for us. No fear, no doubt. Welcome in, bro. Scarcity is the voice that says, if I let go, right? If I terminate this friendship, this relationship, this job, nothing better will come. It says, I have to accept this because this might be the best that I ever get. I'm afraid to ask for more because I don't want to seem ungrateful. I'll take the crumbs because who am I to expect the entire loaf? But scarcity is rooted in fear, not faith. It teaches you to cling to what's familiar, not what's aligned. It convinces you that settling is safer than stretching. It makes you perform for love instead of just receiving it. It has you kind of negotiating your worth just to keep proximity to people who were never meant to stay in the first place. And so scarcity shows up loud when your self-worth is quiet. And I think the messiest part of all is that scarcity will have you mismanaging your blessings because you're too focused on your fears. You'll overthink opportunities. You'll talk yourself out of connections. You'll reject good people because you've normalized chaos and dysfunction. You'll sabotage healthy relationships because they don't trigger your wounds. And so scarcity is dangerous because it disguises itself as humility. But it is not humble to shrink. It is not humble to settle. It is not humble to silence your needs. Scarcity will have you praying for blessings while living like you don't deserve them. And God can't pour abundance into a spirit that only makes room for survival. When your mind is locked on what's missing, you can't see what's multiplying. When your heart is focused on fear, you can't embrace what's forming. When your energy is attached and tied to lack, you can't hold the fullness of what God is actually trying to give you. And so scarcity screams, there's not enough for me. Abundance whispers, I am already more than enough. Think about it. Some of you have a vision right now of a business that you wanted to start or a project that you were thinking about doing, but you talked yourself out of it because someone else is doing something similar or someone else is doing the exact same thing. And so you have the scarcity mindset that there's not enough for me. She's already doing it, so I can't do it. They already got it, so I can't build it. But again, that's that scarcity, lack vision. And if you would just take the time to listen, you would hear abundance whispering, I already told you what to do. Yeah, they got it, but I'm talking about what I'm asking you to do, what I'm calling you to do. When you look at a basketball team, is there only one talented player? Or is it a team full of talented people? The players show up and all do the same thing. But each and every one of them have a special skill that they bring. So we need to operate in a manner that says, you know what? I'm already more than enough. This is my talent. And even though Butterfly may be doing this, or even though Coach she might be doing this, Brooks, right? No fear, no doubt. They're already doing this, but hey, I can do it too. Right? We have to unlearn the noise to shift from clinging to trusting, from a fear-driven life to a faith-led receiving. Because the blessings that you're praying for, right? All these desires and dreams and hopes that you want, that you've been praying so hard for, they require space. They require openness. They require expectation. And scarcity doesn't leave room for that. So again, just like the podcast, room to breathe, right? You have to make room to breathe. You have to make room for your blessings. You have to make room for what it is that you're asking for. So if you're seeking love, I need you to make room for love, right? If you're seeking financial freedom, I need you to make room for your finances to grow, for things to flourish. And understand that preparation often looks like nothing is happening, right? And I think this is the part where most of us get frustrated with God, with life, with ourselves, right? Because preparation often looks like nothing is happening. It looks like silence. It looks like stillness. It looks like isolation and pruning and redirection and a lot of closed doors and long pauses that feel like punishment. But in reality, all of those things are actually protection. I think that we misinterpret preparation because we've been conditioned to glorify movement. We believe that busy equals progress, that chaos equals passion, noise equals momentum, right? Constant activity equals purpose. Oh, she always up and about and she's, always active. So she over there walking in her purpose. No, what she's actually doing is avoiding the work, right? Because spiritual development doesn't grow loud. It grows deep. And that depth takes silence. I've learned over the years that sometimes God hides us before he elevates us. Sometimes he slows things down so you can stop rushing your way into another cycle that you swore you already outgrew. Right? Sometimes God lets things fall apart because you keep trying to build blessings on a broken foundation. So we've got to understand that this preparation is uncomfortable because it requires patience when you want proof, discipline when you crave distraction, trust when you feel forgotten, healing when you'd rather stay numb. And let's be honest, we fight preparation because it doesn't look like progress. I mean, how many of you can admit to that? We think if something isn't visible, it's not valuable. Well, I can't see it, so it must not be real. Right? But growth that lasts is rarely visible at first. I mean, think about it. Seeds grow in the dark. Roots form underground. So healing requires, development. And development happens in the quiet seasons. Confidence builds in private before it ever shows up in public. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean that God isn't building it. What feels like nothing is often divine construction, right? What can feel like a delay is often really just divine alignment. What feels like empty is a divine clearing. I think that preparation is God making sure that the blessing that you're asking for doesn't break you. It's God ensuring that when what you prayed for finally arrives, that you have the character and the stability and the discernment to sustain it, not sabotage it. So if you're in a season that feels slow or quiet, maybe stagnant, I just want you to hear me when I say that this is not a void. It is a vessel. You may not see it yet, but something is forming. Something is maturing. Something is aligning. And so I need you to stay patient, stay open, stay surrendered, right? Because what's coming requires a version of you that a version of you that's being shaped right now. It's time for us to relearn the language of love. And I think that when we think of love, maybe this part of the conversation will be something that hits a little deeper for some of us, especially women who've learned to survive before we learn to receive. A lot of times we say that we want love, but have we actually learned how to speak its language? Healthy love has its own rhythm, its own tone, its own pace. And many of us were never taught that. I can speak truly from experience with this because I can remember searching for love in all the wrong places. And so when real love showed up for me, I wasn't ready. I've shared the story with you guys on how I had to unlearn some things in my current relationship, in my marriage, because I had grown comfortable in the chaos that love was bringing me. And so I can admit to, learning the language of performing and pleasing and proving and enduring and fixing and over functioning, because that looked like love for me. I learned to call sacrifice love. For me, pain was passion. Inconsistency was normal. And discomfort was something that I thought I just deserved. And so when healthy love showed up for me, it felt uncomfortable. It felt unfamiliar. I didn't even know how to receive a proper hug, right? It was awkward. When he tried to love on me, I was like, this is weird. Like, I was just suspicious to everything. It was too calm, too kind, too steady. Because my nervous system had been wired for chaos, not care. Oftentimes we say that we want a partner who communicates, but we don't even know how to express our own needs without apologizing. We say we want affection, but can we receive the softness without flinching? We say we want emotional intimacy, but have we healed enough to let someone see the version of us that we typically hide? We say we want consistency, but does consistency feel boring because we're used to emotional roller coasters? And so that's the truth that I had to come, face to face with in my marriage. And I knew that I deserved what he was offering. I knew that I deserved that level of love. I just needed to go define what love actually was. I needed to go redefine what it was. You know, have you ever had a person ask you, what do you need? Like, you go to someone and you say, hey, I need help. And they're like, no problem. I can help you. What do you need? And you're like, I don't know, but I want help. And they're like, okay, well, what kind of help do you need? And you're like, I don't know. And then we get mad because they're not helping us, but we haven't even helped ourselves. So again, you know, if you're someone who's seeking love, then you have to understand that healthy love requires healing. Not perfection, but healing. And so over these last few years, probably 5, going on 6 years now, since I've been actively on my healing journey, healing has taught me how to trust steady hands, how to welcome good intentions, how to stop shrinking to be chosen, how to stop overextending to feel valuable, how to receive without guilt, and how to love without losing yourself. See, relearning the language of love means unlearning the language of survival. Many of us have been surviving for so long, but we can't actually learn the language of love until we unlearn that language of survival. And that means that we have to allow our hearts to believe that what you're healing is teaching you something. And it's teaching you that you are worthy of greatness. You are worthy of consistency and clarity. You are worthy of care that doesn't cost you your peace. You are worthy of love that doesn't require you to audition. I think that it's shifting, right, from emotional translation to emotional fluency. Understanding love not as struggle, but as safety. Not as sacrifice, but more like support. Not as a performance, right? We're not doing this for the gram. It's for the partnership. God will not send a blessing where the language isn't understood. When your heart is ready and your spirit is open and your healing is active, the love that you've once prayed for won't feel foreign to you. It'll feel familiar. It'll feel like home. But again, I mean, clarity is power, right? And I think that if there's one thing that will change the way that you love, the way that you choose, the way that you pray, the way that you show up in the world, it's clarity. Clarity is not just knowing what you want. It's understanding why you want it, what it requires, what it costs, and who you cannot be anymore once you receive it. Because the moment that you gain clarity, your standards rise automatically. Your tolerance shifts instantly. It's like your boundaries strengthen naturally. Because clarity eliminates confusion. It exposes the counterfeit. And it protects you from emotional bargains that you were never meant to make. When you're clear on something, You stop entertaining people who misunderstand your value. You stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. You stop negotiating with what your spirit already said no to. You stop confusing lonely with settling. Clarity removes the fog that your trauma created. It reroutes you away from those familiar patterns, and it redirects you towards intentional choices. But I think that the truth that most people avoid is that before God sends you a blessing, God sends the clarity. Because clarity is what makes you ready. Clarity is what helps you discern. It's what keeps you aligned, even when temptation and nostalgia and loneliness try to pull you backwards. Clarity says, I know what love is supposed to feel like now. I recognize what peace looks like now. I understand what alignment requires of me now. I can spot a distraction from destiny's connection now. And this is where the true transformation begins. Not when the blessing arrives, but when the confusion breaks. Clarity isn't just information, it is literally our liberation. It frees you from cycles, from doubt, from patterns, from replaying the same emotional loops, expecting different results. Once you become clear, you become powerful. You start choosing in ways that honor your healing. You start loving in ways that protect your peace. You start moving in ways that reflect your worth. But clarity is not the end of the journey. It is just the doorway to your next level. So it is time for us to begin becoming the blessing that we're waiting for. Because you're not just waiting on a blessing, you're becoming one. We pray for love, but we are becoming a place where love feels safe. We pray for partnerships, but are we practicing emotional maturity? We pray for abundance, but are we stewarding what we already have wisely? We pray for peace, but are we actually removing ourselves from the things that disturb it? It's all about accountability, the kind that grows you, not guilts you. Becoming the blessing means you're not looking for someone else to save you. You're not hoping that someone else fills your emptiness. You're not waiting for external validation to confirm your value. You're not begging for reciprocity from people who only know how to take and take and take. Becoming the blessing means that you're doing the inner work so your outer world will align with your healing, not your history. It means that you're nurturing your gifts, that you're healing your wounds, you're protecting your peace and honoring your needs. It means that you're strengthening your boundaries and growing your emotional capacity. You're building the life that you once believed was out of reach. When you evolve, everything around you has to respond to your evolution. So your taste will mature. Your spirit will sharpen. Your patience will expand. Your discernment heightens. Your expectations will elevate. And your tolerance for dysfunction will disappear. Because a blessed woman moves differently. She chooses differently. She prays differently. She partners differently. She opens up differently. She walks differently. And so when you become the blessing, you stop chasing people, opportunities, or relationships that were never aligned with your destiny. You start attracting what honors your growth, what mirrors your healing, what sees your worth, and what aligns with your purpose. It's like you become a magnet for the kind of love, purpose, and peace that you used to beg God for. Because now you're not praying from lack. You're praying from alignment. You're not praying from desperation. You're praying from development. You're not praying for someone to complete you. You're praying for someone to complement the person that you've become. The blessing isn't just coming to you, it is growing inside of you. Hey Tay, welcome in. And when the two finally meet, right? The blessing that's coming to you and the blessing that is growing in you. Oh, that's destiny. Thanks, sis. So listen, before we close today, I want to speak directly to you, right? Yep, you, right there, you, right? The person listening right now. You made space for this conversation today, so let's just take a moment to honor that. Welcome in, Rose. We walked through some deep truths during this episode. We talked about how so many of us want love and purpose, peace, and elevation, but we never slow down long enough to define what any of that actually means to us. We unpacked how the world teaches us to chase the illusion instead of the alignment, right? The pretty picture instead of the honest preparation. We explored the difference between wanting and being ready, how desire alone won't carry you into the blessing if your habits and your heart and your healing aren't aligned with what you're asking for. We confronted the voice of scarcity, that loud, anxious fear that convinces us to settle for less and to cling to confusion, calling it good enough. We name the quiet truth that preparation often looks like nothing happened, when really it's God clearing space for everything that we've been praying for. We talked about relearning love, not the survival-based kind, but the healthy, steady, soul-nourishing kind. We talked about clarity, how it sharpens your discernment and elevates your standards without you saying a word. And we ended on the reminder that you're not just waiting for a blessing, you're becoming one. So let me ask you this. After hearing all of this, what blessings are you preparing yourself to receive? Not wishing for, not fantasizing about, but actually preparing for, with your choices, your boundaries, your healing, your alignment. Because this journey that you're on is not about perfection. It's about readiness. It's about maturity. It's about building the emotional and spiritual and mental capacity to hold what you've been praying for without shrinking or sabotaging and settling. And just in case no one else told you today, you are capable of that. You are worthy of that. And you're not behind in the process. You're right on time for your becoming. Now, if this episode touched something in you, If it maybe felt like confirmation, conviction, or clarity, I just want you to drop a green heart in the chat, right? Wherever you're listening at, whatever platform, drop a green heart in the chat. The green heart says, I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to get clear. I'm ready for what I'm praying for. And if you know someone else who's in their waiting season, their becoming season, and their God, what are you doing with me season? I want you to share this episode with them. Let's not heal in isolation. Let's grow in community. So afterwards, you can head over to YouTube and share this episode out with somebody else who could use some healing energy today. And remember, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do so. That way you never miss an episode that pours into your spirit the way that this one did. Don't forget to go to our website at selfcareclub.org to tap into the tools and resources and support to keep your healing journey nourished beyond the podcast. I thank you for breathing with me today. I thank you for showing up for yourself today. And thank you for allowing this space to be a part of your growth. Before we part ways, let me just leave you with a little extra love and light. As always, I encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every single moment in between. I want you to keep choosing peace, even if it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life. And I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. Until next time, guys, be well, be whole, and keep making room for you to breathe. Thank you. I love you, sissy.